Welcome to the Michigan Short-Term Rentals Podcast. My name's Tony Stancato, here with my co-host, Jordan Painter. What's up, man?
Hey, living the dream. We're flying out Saturday to Florida, ready to get some sunshine. Michigan is smoking crack right now, so we don't know if it's going to be nice or not. This morning, I drove out of my garage. It was like, I want to say it was like 37 or 8 degrees, and it was snowing. I'm like, how is this even possible? I don't understand how it snows when it's above freezing, but there it was.
Well, and then too, it was like just 75 degrees, right? And then in the area of our hotel, which is a couple hours north, dude, I mean, freezing rain, trees coming down, power's out, like it's just wild. And I will say we went on vacation to Oklahoma City, and we didn't realize, we were like, oh, it's tornado season, dude, and we're like, shoot. So we're getting nervous, like, hey, it's like maybe one of the biggest, states for tornadoes. We leave, and we were looking at Nashville and Knoxville. We come down here, all of a sudden, Nashville, Knoxville, they're all in a tornado warning, big, some stuff going on there. And then back home, Michigan, right? I mean,
meanwhile, here we are. Portage is having tornado warnings, and so is Grand Rapids. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there was a confirmed tornado, not in Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids necessarily, but still in that southern Michigan part. So just wild. And here it's like, dude, cool, calm, and nice and sunny. So I guess it worked out for us. But yeah, today we wanted to jump on the podcast, and somebody had recently sent me a message and just said, hey, they had this booking request. They're new to hosting, and they wanted to stay a little bit longer, but then also they had no reviews. So the premise of this podcast is, should you be nervous about guests with no reviews? And I will say probably 30 to 40% of our guests that stay with us have 0 reviews. So that to us isn't the main metric on whether, hey, is this going to be a good guest? Is it going to be a problematic guest? Sometimes you can still get a little nervous if it's like, hey, it's July and they put, their profile was created in July of that same year. You can still get a little nervous around that. But I will say, really haven't had any problems with guests that have no reviews. And honestly, I would say some of our biggest problems have been guests that have had probably, call it 3 to 4 reviews, and they were all 5 stars. So I wouldn't use that as a metric on whether or not, you should be scared or worried about it. That's just a normal part of the process, and you should get used to accepting guests that have no reviews. A lot of people are joining the platform on a regular basis, and we all got to start somewhere. We all got to start with no reviews.
Yeah, people, especially new people that are just getting started, that question does come up a lot. And I think really we've done a really good job of setting guest expectations. So that's really one of the ways that you can mitigate the risk, is making sure the guests understand what your expectations are while they're there. We have a property that has a pool, and people need to understand, like, there are neighbors close to you. You cannot be throwing a monster bash at 10 p.m. at night and expecting not to have issues. So the series of communication that we have leading up to and even during the stays, I think has mitigated a lot of those issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like Jordan said, I mean, a lot of times in a lot of the things that we do, right? Business, life, all that stuff, it's like setting the expectations. So in your listing, hey, no parties. Now, the one Jordan just mentioned that has the pool. So, I mean, there is literally 5 neighbors around that. And, again, when it's summertime, people are out there. And even if it's just like 6 people, 7 people just having fun, it's like all day they're having fun. Maybe not necessarily being overly loud, but just being, again, a group of people that are outside having fun, but it's like all day. So one of the things we do on that one is just like, hey, guys, like, we say this on the front end. If you're coming to party, this is not the spot for you. You know what I mean? And you have 48 hours, cancel, with no impact, no financial impact. But if you are coming to party, this is not going to be the spot for you. So we make sure to set that expectation right at the beginning. The other thing we do is we have guest agreements. So every guest that stays with us, we have them sign a guest agreement. And I will say, call it a guest agreement. Don't call it a rental agreement. That's a story for another day. But have them sign that, have the expectations clearly defined in there as well. And then we also have a deposit, and depending on, your property, you can always say, hey, if they violate this, you can keep the deposit. So every property has a guest agreement, and I would say 80% of our properties have a deposit requirement as well.
Yeah, and then I think also just having a good tech stack is huge. So people see the Ring doorbell, right? They know someone's watching. They know if 10 cars pull up to a house that they're renting, that the owner's going to know. Things like NoiseAware, where we get notifications if they get too loud, and it's set up where they automatically will get notified the first time that, hey, you're being too loud, you need to keep it down. I think people knowing that they're being monitored, you don't want to go too far and really be like a hall monitor and ruin people's fun. But at the same time, you got to protect the investment for your client. You got to protect the neighborhood. So having that tech stack properly, it seems to have curtailed a lot of the issues before owners have to get involved or before the police get called, to really help people stay honest when they're enjoying these properties.
Yeah, the other thing with NoiseAware too is they actually monitor the cell phone service inside the house. So let's say there's supposed to be 8 people, or you can only hold 8 people. It'll tell you if there's an elevated number. So all of a sudden you see there's maybe 40 people in the house. You're like, oh, that's not right. So then you can kind of help cut that off at the end there. So really all this to say is, don't be nervous about guests that don't have guest reviews. Set the expectations with them. Have your mitigation. What is it that you're worried about with the no reviews? Have stuff to mitigate that. Again, like Jordan said, the Ring doorbell, the NoiseAware, your deposits, and even we have a extra level of insurance that goes with every guest. So if something gets broken or anything like that, that's also covered. So make sure maybe you look into that, and that could be a great option for you too. The other thing we've had, and we started out the same way, right, is kind of like the group makeup, right? Are there particular, group makeups that you should be worried about? For us, our first booking that came in was we called this thing, I know we've mentioned it here before, family fun house. And our first group of people that wanted to come stay with us was literally 9 guys from Detroit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So I actually reached out to somebody that we had rented an Airbnb from, and he had 3 or 4 of them. And I'm like, hey dude, what should I do here? He's like, dude, what you're going to find is that you would much rather have a group of all guys, all girls, or, even couples, than you would rather have a family stay there. And, I think that's played out to be true. I just look at, hey, when we're trying to get the kids out the door, everything's a mess. The game pieces are on the floor, crumbs everywhere, right? And everything's just a little bit chaotic when you're trying to go from place to place, pack up and leave and all that stuff. And I will say, dude, we've had plenty of bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, and I'll be honest, it's been fantastic. We've showed up and hey, dude, did some of the cleaners already come? They've taken really good care of it. So don't necessarily be scared away by that. Don't be nervous. I think you can make a lot more revenue with that as well.
Yeah, great piece of advice. I mean, Tony and I are family men. We have kids. Who is more likely to have the house trash and break stuff when we have a party? When I have my friends over, or when I let my kids bring their friends over? There's 1,000% higher likelihood of something getting broken when my kids are having their friends over. So always love having families stay at our places, but you have to understand the likelihood of the kids breaking things is much higher, generally speaking.
Yeah, or blueberries on the floor, blueberries on the carpet, or just whatever that might be. Things tend to spill a little bit more, when it's younger kids, right?
Oh man, we throw fight nights in my office all the time, and when it's all my friends, Luann comes in Monday. looks amazing, looks crystal clear. When my son has his friends over, like you said, man, there's Doritos stuffed into the couches, into the carpet. There's crumbs everywhere. They just trash this place.
Yeah. So yeah. So don't be afraid to take on guests with no reviews. Get in the habit of actually taking them, and just prepare to mitigate the risk that you're nervous about. And until next time.